Fox 61 News at 5 starts now.
And now at 5, the world in mourning after Queen Elizabeth II dies at the age of 96. How her life and legacy are being remembered tonight.
Plus, an assault being investigated as a potential hate crime. What police are telling us about the incident.
She was late to school almost every day this week because her bus never came at all.
Parents frustrated as their kids are welcomed back to school with bus issues. How school officials are responding to those concerns.
And merger mayhem for bankers. The issues customers are still dealing with days after the transition.
Good evening and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Jen Bernstein. Breaking news tonight, Queen Elizabeth II has died at the age of 96.
Let's take a look at some new images just into our newsroom. A photo of the Queen from her visit to Connecticut back in 1976. The Queen arriving in New Haven on the royal yacht Britannia before she took off from Tweed New Haven Airport to head to Virginia. And she is pictured there with then Connecticut Governor Ella Grasso.
Taking a live look right now at Buckingham Palace. The palace announced that she died at Balmoral Castle, her summer residence in Scotland, where members of the royal family had rushed to her side after her health took a turn for the worse.
Queen Elizabeth has reigned since February 6th of 1952, and now her 73-year-old son Prince Charles automatically becomes king upon her death and will be known as King Charles III. And Charles' second wife, Camilla, will be known as the Queen Consort. Charles is expected to give his first televised speech tomorrow, and hours ago, the Prime Minister weighed in.
The death of Her Majesty the Queen is a huge shock to the nation and to the world. Queen Elizabeth II was the rock on which modern Britain was built.
Now, moments after the death of Queen Elizabeth, Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz releasing a statement.
She said, in part, quote, Queen Elizabeth II was a symbol of strength and stability across the globe. Her legacy of service to her country and our world will not be forgotten. Governor Ned Lamont just announcing that he is directing all flags be lowered to half-staff in honor of the Queen.
For a look back at the Queen's life and legacy, let's send it over to Fox's Martha McCallum.
Queen Elizabeth II was born into the royal Windsor family on April 21, 1926. At birth, as the oldest daughter of the Duke and Duchess of York and niece to the King, no one expected that little Elizabeth Alexandra Mary would one day be the longest-serving and one of the most respected rulers of Great Britain. In 1945, at age 18, the young princess trained as a driver and mechanic in the Women's Auxiliary Service. Like thousands of others, she also had a sweetheart in the armed forces, her third cousin, Prince Philip of Greece. They were engaged to be married shortly after the princess's 21st birthday. But in 1952, while in Kenya with Prince Philip, Elizabeth learned the tragic news that her beloved father, the king, had died. In an instant, the 25-year-old became the Queen of England. Elizabeth was to rule in a new era. Her coronation in all its splendor was the first to be broadcast on television. But with the 1990s came turbulent times for the royal family as the marriages of 3 of the Queen's children fell apart. Then, in 1997, Diana, Princess of Wales and mother to the Princes William and Harry, was killed in a car crash in France. At the time, the Queen was criticized for her reserved response and persuaded to make an unprecedented live broadcast. But as she had so many times before, the Queen persevered. From an early age, Queen Elizabeth was one of the most recognized royals and recognized women in the world. She managed to combine the truly regal with a countrywoman's simple pleasures, and she embodied old-fashioned values of virtue, faith, and self-restraint, honoring to the very end the pledge she had made when she was just 21.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Well, our coverage of the Queen's death continues online. Be sure to download the free Fox 61 News app for all of the latest, to hear reaction from around the world. And of course, we'll continue to bring you updates as we learn more throughout the evening on air and online.
All right, in other news tonight, the victim of a possible hate crime in New Haven last weekend told police a group of white men yelled racial slurs at him before beating him up on a York Street sidewalk in front of a Yale residential college late Friday night.
Now police need the public's help to find those responsible. Fox 61's New Haven County Bureau reporter Tony Terzi joins us live from police headquarters with more for us. Tony.
Well, so far at the early stage of this investigation, now 5 days old, police say nothing suggests that those responsible for this heinous assault late last Friday night are Yale students or even affiliated in any way with the university. Just after midnight as Friday turned into Saturday on a sidewalk outside of Yale's Davenport College, trouble struck quickly.
The victim and two of his friends were walking on York Street. There was a brief bump, and then there was words exchanged, and at that point the assault occurred.
The victim, identified in a GoFundMe page as Franklin, sustained serious injuries to his face. He claimed racial slurs were directed at him just before punches were thrown.
The victim describes two white males as the assailant. There is a group of possibly 5 white males in total. So we'll be looking to find, identify, talk to all them.
And because of the circumstances, it's being investigated as a hate crime, according to New Haven police.
No matter what people look like, race, ethnicity, economic situation, document status, everyone is welcome in New Haven.
We do have some video that was provided by Yale and some video that was provided by a civilian. At this point, we can't make any identifications to the video. The people in the video is at a distance.
Yale University's police chief commended Yale students for escorting the victim to the hospital in a ride share.
2 Yale students spoke with the victim, advised him that based on his injuries that he really needed some medical care. He did not want to go by ambulance because of the expense.
Now, one Yale student who did not want to speak on camera said she was there during and after, and she said she couldn't believe that after the assailants left the scene, there were some Yale students who were not in any way involved in the fracas who harassed the victim who was lying on the ground and bleeding. And then some Yale students, as you heard, decided to call a ride share and made sure the victim got to the hospital. We're live in New Haven. Tony Terzi, Fox 61 News.
All right, Tony, keep us updated. Meanwhile, we are following news out of Wethersfield right now, where police are investigating after a student was robbed this morning at the bus stop. Police say the juvenile was assaulted and then robbed by someone while he was waiting for his school bus at a stop on Maple Street. Now, we're told the child suffered minor injuries but did not have to go to the hospital. Police say the suspect then sped off in a vehicle after the robbery. Anyone with information, though, is asked to contact Wethersfield Police.
A follow-up now. Ansonia police have arrested a third suspect allegedly involved in a 2011 homicide. 34-year-old Andrew Spino is accused of taking part in the killing of Isaiah Hernandez. Spino was found in Hawaii and brought back to Connecticut to face charges. The incident happened in the parking lot of the Extra Mart on Wakely Avenue. 2 other suspects have already been arrested for their involvement. Police say they expect Spino's arrest to be the final one in this investigation.
Beautiful September weather out there today. Not a care in the world. Stepping outside, seeing the sunshine, the low humidity. This is as good as it gets. 77 degrees right now for the New Haven area with lots of sunshine. And if you didn't have a chance to enjoy today, we're going to do it all over again for tomorrow. 78 in Meriden, 77 the current temperature for the New Haven area, which we just went over, and 78 for Groton. Here's a look at the satellite. I mean, just for fun, but you can look out the window and see that there's not much going on out there. Heading through the evening tonight, it would be a great one to spend some time outside, whether that's taking the dog for a longer walk, eating dinner on the deck or patio, going out to eat where the window of outdoor dining starts to shrink. We'll see temperatures in the mid-70s right around dinner time, and overnight lows will be dropping back cooler than they were last night into this morning, in the low to mid-50s as we head towards daybreak, upper 50s for the Connecticut shoreline. Great sleeping weather. Crack open the windows, let the fresh air in. No air conditioners required. Heading through the afternoon tomorrow, we're up around 80 degrees, maybe a couple degrees warmer than it was outside today, but tough to even notice. There's also a chance for a little bit of patchy early morning fog, but we pretty quickly break for sun and another comfortable night tomorrow night as well. And it's fall fair and festival season, so we've got all of that going on as well. Heading into the weekend, one day brighter than the other, but both are fine for outdoor plans. We'll show it to you, plus the new U.S. Drought Monitor report just issued today, coming up in a few minutes.
All right, we'll talk in a bit, Rachel. Thank you. New at 4, parents in Waterbury are up in arms after a school bus company has been failing to pick up and drop off elementary school students, according to those parents. They are now demanding answers from Durham Bus Services so this doesn't happen again. Fox 61's Carmen Chow joins us live in Waterbury with what parents are saying and more on their concerns. Carmen.
John, these parents say these school buses either don't show up in the morning at all or they drop off these students at the wrong locations, and parents are worried something will eventually happen to their children.
What? This is the worst area to drop a 4-year-old off. I don't even come through here.
West Main Street is where her niece was dropped off on the second day of school last week, which is at least a 30-minute walk back to her home on Waterville Street, where she was supposed to be dropped off. The mother, Elizabeth Kennedy, said if it was not for a kind stranger noticing her 4-year-old daughter standing by herself in this high-trafficked area, the worst could have happened.
And she just stayed right there. Someone's parent looked at her tag that was on her, and they called me and told me that my daughter was dropped off there, and the bus driver just left her there.
Kennedy sharing this picture of her daughter wearing a lanyard with the big sign with her name and exact bus stop, something she says the bus driver failed to look at.
She said she was scared. She said she didn't want to go back to school because she doesn't like being lost.
Another parent we spoke to tells Fox 61 not only does her daughter's bus drop her off at the wrong location, but it has not showed up at all in the morning.
She was late to school almost every day this week because her bus never came at all.
William sharing the same worries others, that one day her child could be abducted.
Because my daughter, she's like this big. She's like that big, and she's so tiny. Like I said, anybody could just snatch her in a car and keep driving.
Waterbury Public Schools issuing the statement saying, quote, Durham School Services did encounter a routing software issue last week, but the subject has been rectified. All bus routes are subject to change daily throughout the school year due to traffic, weather, driving conditions, and new ridership. Now, I did reach out to a corporate spokesperson with Durham Bus Services who says they are updating their routing information and sent an apology to all families. I did also reach out to a local bus coordinator and did not hear back. I'm live in Waterbury. Carmen Chow, Fox 61 News.